Good evening, everybody, and a jolly Lali-Ho to all of you. We have got another great match here for you tonight. BigDunka taking on Xenocat. BigDunka went 1-0, winning their first match last week. Xenocat still looking for that first win as they go up against each other today. We've got a very special match today because it is a very special, very wonderful admin's birthday today. Invenerable, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Today is my niece's 11th birthday. No. That may be true, but we're kind of having a good time tonight.
Indeed, we're going to be having a good time. It is Scala Kitty's birthday, so everybody in chat, please wish her a happy birthday. We might have a few surprises in store.
Showing up for the effervescent Scala Kitty. Is the surprise that my internet's going to drop repeatedly during this? Maybe. Who knows?
It's going to keep us on our toes, that's for sure. Also keeping us on our toes are going to be those objectives that we have available here tonight. Remember, in this rule set, we have to complete 4 out of the 5 objectives in order to get the crystal and flip Zeromus over to his attackable form. In addition to the normal ones that are on the board, completing Cave Magnus, forging the sword, and trading away the pigtail. Today we have defeating Antlion and getting Cecil. So a little...
Oh, yeah, and with this Kane start, that early game ought to be pretty nice. This T Wildish frequently lets you find a really good act, a really good spear. Heck, I've even seen in some of these places White Lances just lying around. So getting this Kane online and dishing out damage early shouldn't be too difficult. We may have a very quick, out-the-gate acceleration on this seed.
Yeah, right you are. Wildish is very, very kind to our melee fighters who are super reliant on getting that really good equipment as early as possible. I would love to see if there is an early access to the underground available. There are a lot of really great places to hunt for treasure down there. Would not surprise me at all if we see extended forays into Dwarf Castle, or maybe some safes coming in areas like the Fame Arch, trying to look for something good to put in our fighters' hands.
Absolutely. And of course, we see these birthday cake alternatives here. What is your sweet treat of the night going to be after all is said and done with the race?
Well, I think I'm going to pass on the pie because we missed Pie Day. I'll go with those cupcakes. They look quite excellent.
Gotcha. I may have to make some muffins after this. But we do have a Palom pairing off with our Kane. We have both the physical offense and the magical offense right out the gate. And Odin stepping off his throne to wish the racers well, and a tower key. So when we get underground, there will be no keyless tower types today. Gonna have a lot of access to a lot of places as soon as that underground opens up.
Yeah, right you are. And one thing we should mention with that dwarf starting kit, that is going to put the dwarf axe in our runner's hands immediately, which, as we all know, outside of some crazy glitches, is the only way to get Kane back row glitched properly. So right off the bat, Kane is going to be able to stay in the back row, get that half damage, and be really able to contribute, especially with hitting enemies in the back row as well.
Here we see Xenocat making a fairly popular play here on these T Wildish flags, diving right to the back of Watery Pass. Dunka already finding a Ninja Blade in the Baron Inn. If we do find Edge the Seed, provided he's not one of our 2 excluded characters, he will be online in a hurry, even with that C Necky, otherwise eliminating his usual starting weaponry.
Yeah, right you are. Oh, there's a Wind Lance for Xenocat. That is a really strong mid-tier weapon for Kane. That's going to let him do some decent damage early on here. But yeah, that Necky flag really kind of limits Edge's usefulness right out of the gate. He's not going to have his initial dual swords. He's not going to have all that other, all those great accessories and armor that he has. But with that ninja sword in hand, he's going to be just fine if Edge shows up.
Dunka here, continuing his usual route. Does the Baron, does the Mist. Xenocat content with the back of Watery Pass, also going to take a peek in the front.
Yeah, I like this play. Like you said, this is something we see a lot with this Wildish setup, just a lot of density of checks here. And there's always a chance for finding something really, really big here that can open your game up very early.
See, notably a Dragoon armor, that'll give Kayn the base elemental resist, protect ring, you can also give them to Palom now, so defense is all sorted out here. Offense still a little bit lacking. Dunka found a Heroine robe and an Asura summon, kind of the Iridia starter kit if you want her to either convert into a physical offense or into white magic, so to speak. But no Iridia, so no immediate usage on either of those, just appropriately thematically placed.
Yeah, we did find a dancing dagger in behind the waterfall there for Xenocat, and that is actually a very nice pickup. That'll be great for Palom in order to do some damage in his first initial fight before you're able to get those levels on him and get those tier 2 elemental spells. Dancing dagger is going to do plenty of damage. That would make me feel confident enough to start maybe doing a little bit of boss checking here.
Yeah, and Dunka finding the disappointment of Valvalis at the vanilla Mist Dragon spot, and hey, there's D-Mist in the waterfall spot.
You're going to reset out of that, not quite prepared for that fight.
The team's quite prepared for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now he's going to be just fine with the knowledge. Going to back out and come back there later when he's a little bit ready to deal with the somewhat high HP total at that spot.
So do you ever notice that whenever you have a starting Kayn, battle is somewhere it doesn't really matter, and every time you have a mage heavy party, she's somewhere that you just cannot hurt her with magic? Yeah, that board AI, it knows.
Yeah, I hear that board AI is machine learning at this point, just the optimal ways to troll. It's pretty advanced stuff.
A Gung near lands in the Amcian basement, making me feel better about my loot route. You know, you got the T Wildish, you have the heavy weight. No, just go to the usual places. You'll find something. There's something there for you. Don't get fancy.
Yeah, I was excited about that Wind Lance, but yeah, Gungnir's going to outshine it quite a bit there. And Xenocat getting the information that D-Mist is here, also resetting out.
Yeah, the vanilla Octomammoth spot, one of the fastest in the game, and with these, I mean, with the Protect Ring and the Dragoon armor, it won't be hitting too hard, but neither will your team. So fighting it now is just a way to lose a bunch of time.
Yeah, and a fast D-Mist is never fun because it's just going to be cycling through its phases so much, and that's just going to be a huge slog. And yeah, probably just you know it's there. Wait till you get something a little more decisive as far as damage, then go take care of it and get your bonus run there. And we're going to get a look at who is waiting here on Mount Hobbs over on Xenocat's side.
Let's see.
But not if BigDunka can beat them to the punch.
That is Iridia behind a rather rude boss for these base levels, but that Gungnir Kayn will probably be able to take this down. Iridia, of course, can get mileage out of a lot of the gear and loot we found, but a lot of people prefer to just leave her lying down. Base 4 agility at level 1 makes her an excellent anchor. Evil Wall appears to be fond of that strat.
Yeah, Evil Wall is going to be a little punchy here. We're very defensive on that Kayn. We found a lot of good gear for him defense-wise, so that's not going to be too big of a problem. It is going to be a problem if you're a 30 hit point level 1 caller. But yeah, as you said, unless you find something huge for her early on, Sylph spell early might make me consider trying to use her as the early and mid game. Then yeah, leaving her down, leaving her at that low level, using her as an agility anchor is a perfectly fine strategy.
Dunka is through the fight, picks up all those tier 2 elemental magics on Palom, and finds some money armor at the one chest that most people check on here. That will finance the early game very nicely.
Yeah, not as much as it would under normal circumstances. We do have that fraction of the selling price turn on, but crystal armor sells so much that fraction of a ton is still a ton.
Iridia naturally learning Odin, second sighting of him this seed. Little insta-death action, but very low accuracy. It has niche case uses, but you know, we might not even come across those this run. But better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah, if you ever want to get depressed, look up how the battle mechanics work and take a look at what the chance of Odin actually working properly are, and get a little sad inside.
Yo, we heard you like those 10 rune rings we gave you at the start. Would you like another one? It's
I mean,
all
you've got
rune
10
rings.
fingers. Start putting them on your toes, I guess.
I have more magic in my big toe than you have in your entire body. Kapow.
Ooh, Hourglass 2 is a very, very nice find. That can come in extremely handy on bosses that are lacking that boss bit, basically turning them into a free fight, depending on the circumstances. Always good to get that.
Yeah, it's one of those items that you hold on to, and you have to decide, is it time? Is it time? Because it'll give you a free boss fight on anything that's lacking the boss bit. Baron guards, Kaipo guards, Dark Imps, etc. But, you know, sometimes you find them at a really punchy location, and you'll be like, why did I burn that too soon, too early?
Yeah, it's the classic elixir conundrum of, I might need these later, I can't buy them.
Speaking of bosses, well, we talked about kind bosses that you worry about in rude spots. Here's a rude boss in a very kind spot. Love to see D-Lunars here. Won't take a whole lot to tear through the 500 HP each.
Yeah, plus our characters are all equipped properly that they'll be able to deal damage to the Lunar without triggering that nasty AI phase where it starts reflecting viruses off itself. As long as you're not using the actual fight command, you're in a good position there. And we see BigDunka doing jumps, throwing out dancing daggers, and Xenocat actually got into that fight after BigDunka and manages to finish it first.
And
well,
getting levels on Baby Rydia seems like it might be a good idea this seat. I got a feeling. I got an inkling.
Yeah, we talked about there's a couple of things that would make you use Rydia. That's a pretty big one right there.
The Bahamut summon, her capstone spell, and it does take quite a few MP to cast. We may not, in fact, have enough on Rydia to start spamming it just yet, but we do have enough to spam that Sylph summon that BigDunka's rocking. You want to talk about why that is?
Yeah, Sylph is a phenomenal spell. Does significant damage, about on par with what you would see from a virus spell, and then distributes the damage that it does as healing to your entire party. So it's a big 2-in-1 there. But one of the best things is that it actually does not cost MP due to programming oversight in the game. There are flags you can put on to make it properly cost MP. Those flags are not on right now. So Rydia will be able to cast that to her heart's content, and makes her a very fantastic damage dealer and all-around utility character.
Yeah, we may not have a white mage yet, but with that Sylph spell and proper equipment, it's no problem. Yeah. But Xenocat here going the heroine robe route, gonna have his Rydia instead be on the physical offense for a little bit, which, hey, loading her up with that is a great way to get those starting levels so that she can start casting it. 30 HP, it can still do you a lot of good if you have enough physical defense to back it up.
Yeah, I really, I've said it before, but I really love the heroine robe as an item, just because it makes the female characters in this game so dynamic. The ladies can equip it and basically turn from their regular mage jobs into fighters, very competent ones, at the cost of losing some significant amount of punch for their magic. And there are a lot of search situations where that can be extremely useful. I've had a lot of runs where I've gotten use out of Rydia in the late game just because I've had all the tools to make her a frontline fighter instead of a magic user. So it can really change things up, and I really like to see that we have one runner doing that and one runner going with a standard strategy here.
Yeah, and we do have dueling Lunar Sparkles, Pale Dim, and Ogopogo. Ogopogo here is at the, I believe that's the first Baron spot, so only 400 HP. Great place to see it. Pale Dim, a little trickier here. And watch out for that Quake counter if you try to actually hit it directly with a summon.
Yeah, a lot of those late game bosses have hard-coded counters to Rydia's summon spells. Can only imagine it was a late game, late development idea where they realized Rydia might be a little too powerful with those things, so they made those bosses have some nasty counter attacks. And if you forget about that, they can sneak up on you and ruin your day. But looks like everybody looks like it's through that fight, no problem. Dark Elf here, the second fight, should be able to get through this.
Ooh, we have a pan. Speaking of underworld options, whenever we get there, we now have the pan and the tower key. Do we want to get a Luca key just to have everything possible as soon as we get down there? Come on, let's see a Luca key up on Ordeals.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Just an underground classic. Very fitting for the Lali-Ho League. Just that once you get down there, you have the entirety of the underworld spread out before you for where to go. So yeah, I would love to see a Luca key before we go underground here.
Dark Elf, meanwhile, changing forms if Xenocat wants to. Could burn one of those hourglasses now. Dark Elf loses the boss bit when it turns into the dragon form. But dishing out enough damage here may not be necessary. Oh, and of course, Kain has dragon defense, so the punches do negligible work on him.
That infamous dragon element. Pokemon fans will appreciate that. There's the life potions for sale here in Silvera. Probably going to stock up on those.
Okay, feedback and ideas. We need to make Stilf do double damage versus dragons. Just in full Pokemon theme. Let's go.
I like it. I will help you present that idea to board and get it approved.
Meanwhile, Baronin gives us a way underground. There's the Magma Key. Nice direct access. That Demus not cheekily blocking it. A little sad to see. But Xenocat notably doesn't have that pan from the King of Fabul. So if they head underground now, they will be kind of backing themselves up into many dips of Fabul and Sylph Cave that Dunka's not going to have to deal with thanks to the early check.
Yeah, there's always that desire to sort of put Fabul off as long as you can, just in case you can get one of those legendary 3-in-1 checks at Fabul. But often it seems that board AI loves to sneak something required in there that really prevents that from ever happening, and this is no exception here today.
Dunka cleaning up. Ogopogo. Dark Elf up next. Yeah, even having that one piece of Dragoon armor that Xenocat did just completely neutralizes so much of what Dark Elf wants to do to you. Between the dragon form having dragon-type physical attacks, this form having the triple elemental whammy, I think Xenocat's actually going to have had the easier fight here. But, ooh, did you just see what Dunka's Rydia is able to do if she at this point? I missed the Bahamut getting online.
Yeah, it does have the MP, but using that Sylph just to keep everybody alive here for now. But going into the second phase, we might see if that's going to be coming out here.
There it is. Here we go.
Here's your dragon, super effective against dragon attack.
That seems like adequate damage to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's all right. So Xenocat able to get through that fight by very defensively tanking through those dragon-type attacks, and BigDunka taking the power overwhelming approach.
Yep. And of course, we are on the S standard. Shops are standard, which means gated shops do have a chance of selling you sirens, which is another great way to power up a mage team early in the game. So having access to Dwarf Castle, this particular IT administrator, and and the Feymarch, all given that possibility of getting some real powerful J items to start throwing out here early.
Trying to think of what information technology dwarves would have that would need administration. Like forging techniques?
You know how in Tolkien's Middle-earth mythology, at notable birthdays, hobbits don't just receive presents, they give presents. I think Scala is secretly a hobbit. Between the special gifts we have tonight in the seed, sharing, of course, at least, in spirit, her donuts and other cake substitutes with us, and most importantly, that joke. I feel so honored to be part of this party right now.
So that way chat can also hear the joke. I said that the only reason why they need IT for dwarves is so that way they can play Dwarf Fortress. And that's it.
The deep cut, though. The deep cut.
It's not a deep cut. They're making a version with visuals now.
Oh my goodness.
It's a real thing.
Xenocat finds that one monster's chest, can now loot the rest of this place with impunity. Smape, how do you feel? Like, when do you stop looting in the Feymark? Like, what's your cutoff?
I'm still giggling about dwarves playing Dwarf Fortress. I'm sorry, I gotta compose myself here. When do I stop looting? Too late. It's something that is very difficult to be able to judge, especially when you're on like a wildish flag right here, and any potential chest could have anything really wonderful in it. If I've got a melee heavy party, I might tend to keep looting and try to find one of those jackpot items that really pushes them into the end game. If I'm more mage heavy, then I can kind of resist the allure of the loot a little bit longer and stop looting earlier, because they're going to be kind of good to go just from levels alone.
There is other information, like you were talking about the forging side of things. I mean, the legend sword apparently has the entire Mysidian legend engraved upon it. That seems like you really do need a professional to get that kind of information all on one single sword.
Yeah, that's true. How many megabytes do you think a single sword can hold?
Well, probably like 2, maybe 2 at least.
So we're talking about like a floppy disk, essentially. Floppy sword doesn't sound very effective, but
hey, that is a blue robe here at the Leviathan spot. That's the alt gauntlet. I saw them hooligans. I saw hooligans.
That's a big nope from Xenocat. Do not blame them one bit. That is a slog of an alt gauntlet if there ever was one.
Yeah, you don't want to take on the entire Feymarch FC club and sports pub. They love their soccer down in the Feymarch. Now, BigDunka did peek Dwarf Castle, but I did not see the item shop there. Smape, chat, help me out. Have we seen sirens in any of these 3 item shops?
I don't believe so. I didn't get a good look at the item shop there, but I want to say if there were sirens there, he might have stayed on that shop screen a little bit longer. But I don't believe we've seen them just yet.
Yeah, so the in spite of that early underground access, little punishing here. I mean, with the Rydia Bahamut, we're going to be able to tear through nearly every overworld spot anyway, so there is an argument to be said that doing that kind of even temporary small grind doesn't give you a ton of value. But still, just knowing that's not on the table yet means that we can end up being having the seed gate kept by, say, that Mom Bomb at Asura, that alt gauntlet at Leviathan.
Yeah, right you are. I really agree with you when it comes to that grinding there. I really don't like to settle in for like a siren grind or something like that unless I have kind of completely exhausted my options as far as like my current party's power can go. If I can do a boss with the party the current way it is, then I'll try to deal with the bosses and leave the grinding until it's sort of like the last thing possible. Just try to milk those experience points you get from the bosses as far as they'll go.
Dunka here, making the same boss peaks. So at this point, notably, Dunka has already done the full gauntlet fight that Xenocat is entering now, and Dunka peaked an additional shop in Dwarf Castle, looking for those nice Tier 5 J items. So although Xenocat's the first one to make it back to the overworld, Dunka here is going to have saved a Feymarch dive and an extra Fabul dive because of that early pan.
Yeah, right you are. Xenocat's going to get the news here very quickly that this is where the pan was, and that he's going to have to make another trip down there. It doesn't seem like it's much time lost, but every minute counts in races like this. So, we'll see if this ends up being a little bit jetty, if that ends up being a difference maker or not. And
I
now
like
that I started,
Xenocat's.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I like Xenocat's party arrangement. Birthday Scala, happy.
Yeah, we were joking earlier before we started about how Xenocat's message might be misconstrued a little bit once the party gets distributed. Happy indeed.
Hey, if you're not happy on your birthday, it's probably because you received a pan after having already been through Sylph Cave one time.
Even so, the pan is an item that just opens up so much for you that even if I've got to do a second dive, I'm still never unhappy to receive the pan because I know that there's a good chance the seed is about to open up for me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dunka giving us that information, the pan, let's play Whack-A-Yang. And after the bot, the fairies give us fine Hanzo Steel. That makes Young's, I love Young's comment there, sorry I can't be of any help now. Oh, that's a fancy sword. I don't know how to use that. You're gonna have to find a ninja.
And there's a Baron key from the Sheila 1 check, so we talked about opening up. That definitely opens things up there.
I'm glad to see Xenocat here visiting a shop. Saw a little bit of inventory clog while receiving these items. Hopefully we'll free up some spots here and be able to continue looting with some measure of impunity, instead of having to go to that swap screen on the regular.
Yeah, the most terrifying boss in Final Fantasy IV, the inventory boss. I hate it, you hate it, we all hate it.
Let's see. Dunka, of course. Oh. Internet? Okay. Leviathan summon. So the funny thing here is Xenocat could go completely unpunished here if they decide to just fade the Sylph and the second pan check, at least until an edge shows up.
Yeah, right you are. Leviathan may be weaker than Bahamut, but it's not by enough that it makes too terribly much of a difference. As long as you have either of them on Rydia, her damage can carry you very, very easily into the end game.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of the inventory management, like you said, the T Wildish flag makes you so tempted to keep picking things up. But once you start having to deal with that swap menu, every one of those just costs you seconds upon seconds. And when you're changing a half a second treasure chest into a 4-second inventory management every time, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, that's why I kind of see the reduced selling price for items a little bit as a blessing, because a lot of times I'm hanging on to gear I can't use just because I know I can sell it for a lot and be able to grab some great late game items, especially if I'm going to be forging the sword and have access to that Cocal shop. Now that I know I can't sell them as much, I'm a little more tempted to be able to give up those high value items just because I know I'm not going to get as much bang for them, so I can clear out a bunch of things on one of those chest pickups and have a lot more room to do a little bit more looting.
Rydia's mom here, by the way, the D-Mist, skillfully evading the Bahamut summon on the first try. There is quite a bit of delay before casting it, and had hit that immune moment before it came out. This is a very fast spot. I wonder if D-Mist gets another evade in here, or if Dunka timed that right this time. I'm waiting with bated breath.
There's the third attack in just in time. Very nice.
Under the wire.
Ooh, that was very, very close, but gets the Bahamut off. That should be all she wrote for D-Mist, and BigDunka's going to have another key item check here coming up.
No swag, hovercraft journey to go turn it in? Come on.
It's free Enterprise, not free hovercraft, Inven.
But I want a hovercraft. So at this point, aside from those underworld options, we have seen both players still leave ordeals on the table. Pass here doesn't open anything, but will save us time on the hunt for Zeromus in the end game.
Yeah, definitely nice to have just sort of calm your nerves as you go into the end game. No, you're not going to have to make that hike. But yeah, like you said, doesn't open anything up, and Xenocat is going to be in a similar place to BigDunka, having already checked there and knowing where that D-Mist is. So pass should be available for both players here.
Oh, and both of them gonna chase that Baron key. No thank you ordeals, no Dwarf Castle, that tower key, whatever. I like Baron here. I mean, we know that the Odin fight at Beigen is going to be very manageable here. Both teams have a Lightning 2 on Palom at minimum. To say nothing, of course, of the bigger spell cast that we have in our back pocket. So, relatively benign fight there, but the throne can always surprise you.
Yeah, the other reason I like the Baron check here is because there are a lot of chests to be had in Baron Castle. And on Wildish, any one of those has a chance to be something big. So I wouldn't surprise me if one or more of our runners does a little bit of looting here.
And notably, Xenocat here still going with the offensive, I mean, the physical offense radio, which 900 damage with an arrow. Yeah, who can blame them?
Yeah, that had to have been a light arrow, or lightning arrow, or lit arrow, whatever you want to call it. Taking advantage of that weakness there. That's some good damage.
And notably here, Xenocat's Cane still only rocking a Dancing Dagger, contrasted with Dunka's Gungnir Spear. Definitely, I am enjoying seeing Iridia being the primary source for physical style damage here. It's a cute change of pace to see Cane being like, I can do magic, and Iridia being like, I will shoot you down.
Yeah, nice role reversal. You always like to see stuff like this. That's been a lot of Dragoon Gauntlets we've been finding so far.
Yeah, and yet another inventory management screen, just eating up a little bit of time there.
Yeah, that menuing really does add up. I know that's something that I personally struggle with is menus. And was that Pain Man? Yes, it looks like we've got a Dark Knight Cecil on the throne. He has succeeded his father and taken his rightful place.
I like that. I like the DKC and the Odin swapping spots. It's like, do you want to be king for a day? Okay, here. I'm gonna go be captain of the guard. You be king. I'll be captain of the guard, and we'll surprise them when they come in. They won't expect us to have swapped places like this.
It's apparently Cecil's birthday too. That's why he gets to be on the throne.
Oh yeah. Well, wait.
What's perfect is if Paladin Cecil comes, or well, no, we haven't been to Ordeals yet, so it'll be Dark Knight Cecil if he's the character here.
And also I'm calling it Beigen at the Odin throne, just to.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. It's Swapsies Day here in Baron Castle. But wait, if you get a throne for your birthday, did someone get Scala a throne? Does she have a real big cozy chair?
I thought you were getting the throne. I thought we organized this in Ben.
Oh no.
I mean,
oh no.
I don't have a throne, but I do have a very comfy love seat I'm sitting on, so close enough.
All right, that works. We'll go with that.
Hey, love seat crew represent.
Heck
Same.
yeah.
Basically over here commentating this match like I'm Hedonism Bot from Futurama.
Well, that's not Cecil, but it is his uncle. Fusoya joining the party. Well, Scala joining the party, rather, on Xenocat's side.
Yeah, so even though neither player has gone to Ordeals yet, we have completed quite a few bosses, and Ordeals has 3 of them. That Fu will get 3 more spells and 100 more HP per boss, and he probably already has a ton of great spells just because of how much we've cleared already. I really like the beeline to Ordeals here if either player goes for it at this point.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if we see both runners immediately heading over to Ordeals. That's just such a juicy, juicy spot, especially since we do have a boss hunt in the mix. We do need to find that antlion and getting food powered up, get a key item as well. There's a hook, so now we've got Evelyn Cave on the map as well. It's an additional shop to check if we end up needing to look for those sirens.
Yeah, could be our Cecil location. The rudest thing, I think someone mentioned this earlier, of course, would be an antlion at the King Queen Evelyn spot. That hook route is very nice because the ruby spot, you can peek it one of two ways. You can either walk through the character and you'll see that ruby boss, lighten them up. Or when you do your lower Tower of Babel, if you pay attention, you can see that ruby slot boss teleport up while talking to whoever's in command of the lower tower. But you don't get that same information with the King Queen Evelyn spot unless you hoof it all the way down there.
Both of our runners deciding to go into Baron Basement here to look at the Odin spot. It's Bahamut, and this is something that is very doable here with the with these Star Veils.
There is one tricky thing to worry about here, though, and that's even though the Bahamut spot's fast, having this many characters entering the queue does provide, it slows down Bahamut, but the ATB timer is still ticking in a way that could result in some of these dropping off. But I see Xenocat, it has elected to pull their Bahamut out, and it's a mirror match. Oh, but that heroin robe nerfing the damage down to sub 2000. We'll see if either runner here actually gets through this damage in enough time. I will note Xenocat had a lot more Starfells. BigDunka is down to only 1 at this point.
Yeah, still manages to get the full 10,000 damage, even with just the 2 reflects. Now we'll see if they can hoof it out the rest of the fight here.
Yeah, if Xenocat's walls are still up at this next Mega Nuke, Xenocat will clear this fight. And Dunka does consume the last one to make sure this Iridia survives this Mega Nuke.
And this is always one of the trickier things in the game is there's no visual indication if Reflect is up or not. So you gotta, there are some cheeky ways for you to check. Otherwise it's down to instinct and understanding of how much ATB time has passed. BigDunka gets it and is rewarded with the meme spear.
Enjoy your straw, everyone. Quick reset out. Does not even care about the spells earned on Fu. BigDunka especially, I like the reset because he was out of Star Veils after that fight. So keeping those in your pocket for later. And Xenocat also, not content with that reward, says, I'm out of here.
Yep, not interested at all. BigDunka gonna grab that flotation device there and head over to Evelyn Cave, while Xenocat is gonna cash in on that Mist Dragon now.
Dunka going for the item shop first. Do we finally find sirens? No. So at this point, if sirens are for sale, they are for sale in the Hummingway shop on the moon. But they're even not guaranteed to be there. Any given tier 5 item only has I believe, a 90% chance of being in the seed.
Ding, ding, ding. Get your zip vials ready. We have a WinRAR. That was a white spear in that chest. That is huge for Kane.
Yeah, Dunka's Kane just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Xenocat's Kane would love that upgrade. Maybe they will continue to loot and peek that chest as well. I mean, you're adjacent to it anyway. If you're going to check one in Evelyn Cave, it's a pretty darn good one.
Yeah, right you are. And your party's strong enough to be able to deal with these fights anyway at this point, so might as well. You're absolutely right.
D-Mist dodging the Bahamut on Xenocat's side as well. Double dodges, but Virus cleans up the fight. Xenocat will be getting that pass. No long hikes to Zeromus tonight.
And down goes the second Staleman. Get a peek at what's in the trap chest. Oh boy! That's big! We have a required Cecil in this seed, and we just picked up the weapon that makes him godlike. That's huge.
Whew. that is a spicy meatball right there.
The only thing that could make this better at this point is if Cecil is just waiting right here in Cave Evelyn.
What if it's Cecil facing off with Antlion?
That would just be chef's kiss.
And then womp 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 womp. Nah. Well, we know Kane is one of our duplicate characters now, and Dunka has both a Gungnir and a Holy Lance.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to take Kane here. Maybe get rid of.
Do you need a Palom, a Porum, a Rydia, and a Thu?
Yeah, I'd be tempted to get rid of the Porum and pick up the Kane for some extra offense.
On the other hand, so Dunka does know that Valvalis is in the Mist Cave. Never have to deal with her. So maybe he does like going the mage heavy route this seed. I mean, Rydia has meaningful power. Porum will have all her utility, her really good utility white magics on lock pretty soon. Thu, of course, if we go up ordeals, will have all the goodies. I can understand leaving it. Although, yeah. If your inventory is still clogged with all this heavy armor, and you're not going to be taking anyone who can wear the heavy armor, sell that heavy armor. Get this out of here.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's one of those situations where I don't think there's a wrong answer as far as whether you take the character and who you get rid of. I think you're kind of in a position where you can go with whatever party setup you're most comfortable with. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's perfectly valid to leave him there and deal with sort of a more mage-heavy party.
Xenocat also looking right at the exits for Cell in Evelyn Cave. I don't think they picked up any either. We'll learn it soon enough, right? Just a few more bosses. Ooh, Xenocat also yes, fight the Stillman. You want yes. This. This is the trap chest you want to see. If you're going to open one trap chest, make it the Crystal Sword trap chest.
Youch, those are some big hits on Fusoya right now, and he is the most equipped to take care of these Stalemen. This could get a little nasty very quick here.
I see 2 Hourglass 2s. Either of those will make this fight free, and with how quick those Stalemen are punching, it looks like it is time.
Yep, there it goes, and just got to get through whatever actions they have queued up, and Xenocat should be able to recover and get through this and get a very, very nice reward for their efforts.
Yeah, and that Kane now equipping the White Lance as well. So Xenocat's Kane now also relatively online.
Yeah, we had such a discrepancy in Kane powers just based on the different spears picked up, but now we've reached parity with that White Lance on both characters.
I will say, though, I like how BigDunka is leveraging his Rydia and that Bahamut spell. Xenocat at this point has not really taken full advantage of the sheer overwhelming power that Dragon gives the team, while his Dunka is just using that Mega Nuke for all it's worth, fight after fight after fight.
Yeah, it's that power overwhelming strategy where, yeah, there are some fantastic tricks that our runners have up their sleeves for dealing with some of these fights. This in particular is one where you can you can utilize some sort of unorthodox strategies to win, but why go through all of that when you can just throw a dragon at it? Or throw stones at it in coffins, as BigDunka is choosing to do here.
So I'm mostly curious what Thu is about to learn here. Do we finally get one of the Fatal, Meteo, and Weak? A little more niche use. We want Quake, we want Nuke.
Yeah, we've got one more roll here on some of the big heavy hitters that are going to launch Thu's damage into the stratosphere.
And that inventory management boss again. At some point, you know, it's really awkward because you have this T Wildish, I swear, is actually a difficulty flag. Because you get all this amazing loot and you're like, well, wait, what if my next character is this person? I better keep this around. What if I get this person? I can keep this around. But next thing you know, you're level 45, you're ready to fight Zeromus anyway, and you still have a full inventory of stuff that you just never ditched.
I'm glad to know that you are also an RPG hoarder like me. It makes me feel a little more a little less self-conscious, I should say.
And there's Nuke on the Foo. So BigDunka's Foo is ready to try to keep up with Rydia. Of course, the human Nuke versus the Mega Nuke does cast a lot faster, only single target, but that Foo will be doing very good single target work and wherever Dunka goes from here. I don't think he has any boss spots on the blue planet he really fears at this point, even including the Gauntlet or that Mom Bomb. I think he can manage them.
Yeah, right you are. I think this is basically just a routing puzzle now for Big Dunka. Doesn't really need to worry about character power until we reach that go mode point, and then you got to think about, well, am I strong enough? Am I going to need to do any kind of low level strats here? Do I have a grind available? But as far as anything in the immediate future, no, he's all set.
Dwarf Castle, of course, is a very logical choice if that's where he's headed. We still have not seen that Antlion. We still have not seen a Cecil. 2 bosses and a character check.
Yeah, very, very appealing potential value here in Dwarf Castle. So makes perfect sense he'd be going here first. And there's Yang, not who we're looking for. Doubt he's going to get picked up.
Well, that's also that's.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, that's Yang as a boss.
Yeah, I don't think we're picking this one up.
I'm excited about the character check.
I think now it will be Cecil, just to be rude, because of course, if you have Cecil, you can do a one-hit kill after Karate queues up the second kick. So to have Cecil gated by Karate is just a little subtle rudeness for the seed to throw at you.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. What game is this again? Final Fantasy II?
Of course, this Calabrina spot has pretty high physical attack. That kick, actually, the kick and the punch, it's all in the mind.
Sweetie, it's not Final Fantasy II because the David Bowie Emperor is not here.
That's true. That's true.
Mateus is my homeboy.
You gotta respect the final boss who dies halfway through the game and then dethrones Satan. I mean, that's pretty metal.
Yeah. Orb. Show me Cecil.
That's not Cecil, but we have a spoon.
So?
Oh, the lingering cursor. Oh, there goes Kane! Not the decision I would have thought, but a very bold play. Invent, it sounds like you have thoughts on that.
I mean, it's like, you even got a chance to look at that Kane there. It's like, I have a Kane with a Holy Lance and a Zeus Gauntlet. You know who on BigDunka's team can equip a Zeus Gauntlet at this point?
Rydia.
Only Rydia. And plus 10 strength and vitality. No thanks. I'm gonna go with the 60 HP.
Now, in BigDunka's defense, if he's thinking full mage strats going from this point out, then I can absolutely understand this. Edward is going to is incredibly fast, can make a very useful chemist in a lot of positions. Not going to exactly have the health to survive big bangs or anything, but can contribute with just how fast his turns come around, especially with that spoon. So I don't think the decision is completely without merit here.
Oh, I mean, it's fine, but I still hate it. Like,
it's not what you would do. Let's
I think that with the addition of the Sea Hero flag and the Supersmith flag to give Edward meaningful weapons, it is time to retire the Spoon flag from Free Enterprise. Let that bard play his funky music, put the spoon to bed. We have real weaponry for everyone's favorite bard now.
God, did you hear that, Scala? Inven brought you hot takes for your birthday.
You all know that I do love a good hot take.
Chris Jack in chat, Val is currently at the Vanilla D-Miss spot, so she is not a threat this seed, and Duncan knows that. I'm not sure Xenocat has made that peak yet.
BigDunka heading immediately over to the tower here with the tower key in hand. That is 2 key item checks to be made here.
Hey, you can throw that White Lance away now. You won't be needing it. Yes, hover over the Gungnir and the White Lance and think about your life choices, Dunka.
Now, to be fair, there's a second Kane in Evelyn Cave, so, you know, there could be a redemption arc here if he holds on to the White Lance.
Now I want you to look longingly at the Zeus Gauntlet. Nah, Eddie is going to do tons of work here. He will be very squishy, but that spoon does absurd things. I'm hoping we see our first cast of Berserk this seed, or maybe even pick up some of those Bacchus ones we saw earlier. I want to see a very angry spoon man come together with his hand. I want him to save me. I'm together with his plan.
And Xenocat whipping out a dragon of their own here to take care of their Karate Man. And when presented with the Bard, let's see what Xenocat decides to do. Because they also have that spoon.
Let's see, Xenocat. What's the call?
Want to get rid of Kane? Oh, I wanted another Kane betrayal.
No. I think this is a far more interesting trade because I feel like Palom is the character who is most currently rendered obsolete by the rest of your team here. Fu has Quake and Nuke already, or if Fu's missing Quake, he'll have it after this fight. Rydia knows Bahamut. Like, your huge magical damage is already covered here. I love this Eddie swap. Getting rid of Palom, balancing the team a little better. You have another great source of physical damage output now. I love the play on Xenocat's side.
Yeah, Palom is a great character who can go the distance into the end game, but you are absolutely correct on that everything Palom can do is already covered by other team members here, so he's a little bit redundant. Eddie sort of fills that glass cannon niche here of physical damage that we really don't have online here. I mean, even as equipped as Kane is, Eddie's going to probably be out damaging him very shortly, especially with his speed. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right that I think Eddie is a better complement to this team than Palom is going to be.
Duncan, meanwhile, has found leg day at the top of the tower. That's how Ruby keeps the legs in such good shape. You just walk up and down the Tower of Babel, you know, over and over. Boom. And then you gotta show off that leg. You gotta be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, he makes sure there are no elevators installed in that place. That's his mandate.
That's why you can't use the teleporter in vanilla. It's been suspended. It's like, nope, you'll have to hike up the old-fashioned way. And that's a twin harp. Oh, baby. That will let us complete objective number 1. And more importantly, it's twin heart. Right?
Yeah, we might. I cannot confirm anything, but there might be something a little bit special on Twin Heart, considering this is a very special day.
Maybe.
Xenocat actually going to go peek this Sand Ruby. I'm uncertain if anyone even looked at the bed character earlier, but we are technically on a character hunt. And we do have that. We have both a Masamune, we have a Masamune and a Ninja Blade. We have a Crystal Sword.
Oh my. That is a Paladin.
And yeah, 52 minutes into the seed, we will finally get a number lit up on the board. I think it may be. Really? Huh. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting choice. I can understand where coming from here. It kind of falls into that same redundancy thing. Fusoya can basically do anything that you would want to get out of Porum anyway. Porum's going to take a lot longer to get to that, comfortable HP value for fighting against Zeromus. So yeah, I don't disagree with that play. I might have made the same choice in that position.
You see, for my money here, I think I actually like having Porum plus Fu, because we're leaning into Zerkitude now. And so the more people I can have casting Zerk and getting my Spoonword, my Crystal Sword Cecil, my White Lance Cane, get them swinging out the gate as soon as possible, I kind of favor that side of things. Because as great as Bahamut is, like in the long run here, Rydia is, unless you put the heroine robe back on her and maybe find, Artemis arrows or a good whip, Dragon Whip, her Zeromus utility is what I'm worried about at this point. Getting her to level 50 for Nuke is super hard, and trying to time or make use of summons in the Zeromus fight can be very tricky as well, just because of how Zeromus responds to them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I still think there's going to be some utility to be had out of Rydia, just because there are a number of boss encounters still around that are multi-target, where AoE spells are going to be very useful, where Bahamut's really going to shine. I completely agree with you. She's really not going to have much use in the Z fight unless you grind her up, which I don't think Xenocat is going to be interested in doing here. So I like keeping her around for that AoE utility, but yeah, I think you can definitely make a case for either character staying around.
Now, Dunka here, we did see the Cane Ditch earlier. He's kind of committed to the Spoonword play at this point. I saw that power shirt on him. We got the spoon. But that's Crystal Sword Cecil. There we go. Dunka dumping the Rydia this time.
Yeah, not even stopping to think about it for any length of time. Knew right from the get-go who he wanted to replace to get that Cecil online.
I mean, for what it's worth, I don't see him necessarily getting Palom to nuke either. But now we have two amazing Zerk targets, and we kind of have the mage part covered as well. I wonder if he will end up taking I wonder if he'll take an edge if he finds one. Still has the Hanzo still kicking around, I believe. And we may not have seen Sirencer Cell yet, but we can steal them if we find an edge.
Absolutely. One of the maybe understated aspects of Edge's utility is being able to nab sirens off of the seekers that are inside the trap chests in the Tower of Babel, which is very, very useful if you don't have a more convenient grind option. You don't have sirens for sale. Just take them.
And there goes the White Lance, dumping the spears at long last. Dunka is rolling in at 200,000 gold, just kicking around. Forget beating Zeromus. Just go make your own Scrooge McDuck vault.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Forging the Legend Sword comes into play here as one of the objectives, if there's anything interesting in Kogel's shop that BigDunka's going to spend that cash on.
No, I think Dunka's going to get to the moon, and there will be sirens, and he'll buy 50 of them. That's the game plan right there.
You never know when you might need another siren, or 40.
Now, I will note, Duncan's going headlong into Cave Magnus here. I do not know the last time he saved his game. Are there any bosses here that could actually punish him, even with the full-powered food?
The first one that immediately comes to mind would be Golbez, potentially. But other than that, we've seen a lot of the nastier fights. We've seen Ogopogo.
I mean, for what it's worth, Golbez punishes us all.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's a harp surprise, and then he's going to be like, "I'm gonna change the." Mind if I skip this track? Yes, we do mind Golbez.
I will very much mind.
Scala, are you strong enough at seed rolling to troll even yourself on your own birthday?
Ooh, that is a possibility. Also, I'm curious to know what y'all and what chat thinks the song is going to be. I'm actually legit curious.
The penny whistle version of "My Heart Will Go On."
What you got, Smeepty?
That's such a good one. I might just go with Invenerably. Let's do the Chrono Trigger theme, but played in minor.
All right. Well, let's hear. Shoutouts to chat for getting that. Both Kinda Nerdy Housewife and Beowulf guessed it. Yes, that is The Price of Freedom from Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Exactly! When I told my partner about this, we both had to joke. It's just like, yep, we have to carry on the Crisis Core fan tradition, where 50% of what you do is cry, the other 50% of what you do is make other Crisis Core fans cry. But
yeah, great job, chat. That's kind of a deep cut, so I'm really I really love how many people in chat were able to identify it. That's awesome.
And thank you to Calm Lamity, who helped with adjusting that track. We found a fan arrangement of it that sort of had this really nice music box feel to it. But yeah, let's get ready for an encore.
And somehow you managed not to play yourself with a Golbez there. Dark Imps, of course, a nice boss bitless fight. We saw coffins used, and of course, Edward and Cecil were going plenty burr. But what's this rat tail reward going to give us?
Oh, that's Moon Axis, baby.
Curious. We've seen neither half of the Forge at this point. The only things left on the blue planet are the Alt Gauntlet and that Mom Bomb fight, which, though doable, don't exactly spark joy. And moreover, that Darkness Crystal brings us to 10 key items. Moon bosses will now be giving double XP, and if the Hummingways are selling sirens, this party's about to go into overdrive.
Yeah, this is heading straight to the moon here for BigDunka. Just is so attractive here. The moon is just so dense with key item checks. And like you said, we're going to be getting double experience from some very, very high value experience spots here. This just is a very, very sensible play. And he's at that point, or his party's power, that he should be able to kind of breeze through a lot of these fights.
Well, I think it is time for us to go silent again and enjoy a second dose of Scala's first present to us. But chat, keep your eye on if there are sirens for sale in that Hummingway shop, and if there's an edge on the Lunar Dais. I think those will be two very key points about how this seed unfolds. For now, enjoy the music. That was nice.
That was very nice. I need to get around to playing that game one of these days.
This is me officially telling you, Smapety, and everyone else, please play Crisis Core. I've been telling people please play Crisis Core since 2007.
Scala, given what you just said the two hobbies of Crisis Core fans are, I'm not so sure I want to be a part of that fandom.
Now, Invent, you played Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah?
It's the same director, Hajime Tabata, on Crisis Core. So you kind of know what you're getting into.
A car?
Yes. There is a motorcycle in Crisis Core. It's true.
Question for Scala in chat. Should I play Crisis Core?
You should absolutely play Crisis Core. Oh yeah, but people are noting, don't play Crisis Core on Twitch because there's a lot of issues with the music in Crisis Core, which makes me sad because Crisis Core has amazing music.
And Xenocat picking up their Darkness Crystal as well. They're going to have moon access, and I've got to imagine aren't going to be very far behind BigDunka and traveling up to the moon here.
Yes, I made a note. BigDunka stepped on the teleporter tile to go into the lunar subterrane at the 1 hour, 3 minute, 5 second mark. Gonna pay close attention to see how far Xenocat's behind here, if they take the same route. Of course, Cave Bahamut is an option, but we do still need at least 3 key, well, pardon me. If we don't find Antlion, we need 3 key items here. We need Pinktail, Legend Sword, Adamant. If we find Antlion, of course, drop that number accordingly. So I like the play into the lunar core here, and with the pass, I kind of like going all the way down here. And of course, BigDunka using those sirens now, going to be farming some gold dragons here to get tons of XP on the team, making sure nothing will stand in his way down here, and even took a fresh Rydia. You know, we talked earlier about the Bahamut summon in the Heroine Robe and how strong that early game one was, kind of making it to where we wouldn't be anchoring with her. The moon had us covered all along.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to find when you're going into the moon. You got everything set up, and the game just decides, oh, okay, you look like you're in a good spot, but would you like a free anchor as well?
And I know that Dunka has fully leaned into the Zerker setup here. Any black magic Dunka wants to cast will be done via Fusoya. But given that Antlion's one of our hunts here, that's a little scary. Antlion will counter all Zerker hits with that counter needle attack. And even if it doesn't do a lot of damage at a given spot, it will slow you down eating counter after counter.
Yeah, Antlion is one of those bosses that gets really frightening when it's scaled up to some of these endgame levels. Those counterattacks can be really nasty, and like you said, now that we're kind of leaning into Berserker here, might be something to watch out for. Might want to dial it back a little bit and work on black magic just for that fight, but we'll see if we do run into Antlion here, how BigDunka decides to play it.
And Xenocat, of course, with a more balanced comp, still having quite a bit of other black magic and summon magic on the table. K&H asking in the chat, is the Z sprite going to be a 6 Sephiroth sprite? I was actually hoping, and I don't think this is it, but I was hoping for the Skipperoth, you know, the one that's like prancing and like high skipping through, you know, many a field. Because, for those of you in chat who don't know, Scala is the reason that ever made its way to the internet. Scala, do you want to tell that story while we have some grinding going on?
I can tell the story. So if you've never seen it, it's kind of been around the internet for a while now. Usually it's a gif of Sephiroth skipping with the text "haters gonna hate." The whole story is that I was in the Dissidia community doing a lot of work with just figuring out like some of the modding aspects and especially like the models. And I discovered completely by accident that you could transfer animations from one model to another because all the models and all the animations in Dissidia are built in as data in the model themselves. Anyway, long story short, I put Kefka's animation on Sephiroth, and that's Kefka's walk cycle. It's this long skip. And one of my friends in the Dissidia community was just like, all right, we need to make GIFs of this. And I'm like, absolutely. And then from there, the GIFs started like spreading around the internet. So if you ever see a skipping Sephiroth GIF, it's because I got really bored one night and was just trying to figure out how could you move around different animation. And also, heck yeah, Value Cave. I love a good Value Cave.
Yeah, but more importantly than that,
oh no, Dunka!
BigDunka has lost the plot in his grind.
Oh no!
Gold dragons are not to be trifled with.
Oh no!
And BigDunka has not saved since.
Oh no!
That's heartbreaking.
That is massive. That is a huge time loss. So gold dragons, just to go over their script right quick, if you hit them, if you bop them with a normal attack, they counter that character with Entangle, a very long paralysis. After that, they will continue their normal script, which involves punching and using Blitz. Blitz is a very powerful lightning attack that does half of your max HP. It's not that 25% kind of stuff you see with waves, with big waves. It is half if you don't have lightning resistance. Now, Xenocat also, I'm not sure when they last saved, and we don't know how much of a grind they intend to do here before they start tackling these bosses either. So it's going to take quite a bit of effort for Dunka to come back from this.
Yeah, right you are. Xenocat is exiting out. We might see a save here. Well, throwing Tent down first, then maybe a save after that. But gosh, just thinking how much time BigDunka just lost there, that's got to be somewhere in the 20-minute range.
Now, did Xenocat actually peek the Hummingway shop? Because we only saw the one siren pop there. I'm kind of surprised not to see a few more. These levels, this antline is going to hit very hard. The Cave Bahamut spot's one of the highest physical attacks in the game, if not the highest. So I'm wondering if Xenocat intends to tackle this right now, or is looking to do any more grinding.
I do recall him popping in there and buying some sirens, so he does know that they're they do know that they're in that shop, so might have just been comfortable with one, or just did the one fight, was maybe a little uncomfortable that with how it went down and wanted to go out and save. Either way, going into the antline fight now.
Yeah, I saw that battle speed get turned down to 2. I hope that's enough, because here come the punches. Blink is going to do a ton of work here, of course. Fu getting it set up on himself. But you know, we talked about only going with the one white mage here. The one white mage party comp. And the difficulties that can entail.
Yeah, and we're seeing it right here. That is a fast antline, and it is punching hard. We're getting those blinks out, but I don't know if Fu's going to be able to keep up with that speed. Trying to get the rest of his damage up here in Edward. And yeah, this is just the raw physical attacks of Antline. We haven't even factored in the counters at this point. Getting Bahamut off, we're not going to see a counter here, which is good. Should do a nice chunk of damage, but we still have a long way to go.
I'm wondering, well, also, a brief note, all these counters are also whiffing very nicely. Bahamut Spot may have extremely high physical attack, but it has relatively low magic attack, and it's only one roll. So, okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's one roll, but Rydia did not evade that counter, but if it hits, we're going to see that amount of damage, but hopefully, again, it's relatively low spell power, because Mega Nuke's so powerful on its own, you know, a little goes a long way. But the Fu is down, and Cecil only has one dose of Blink left.
Yeah, this is getting really dicey here. Oof, there goes Cecil, and I think we might be out of mojo here.
So, bad news for Xenocat. Good news for Dunka, though. Giving him a few more minutes on the clock to try to claw his way back into this. See Xenocat turning that battle speed down even further.
Yeah, I do like that we were seeing a little bit of the cover strats from Cecil there. I would be tempted to sort of double down on that strategy. put Cecil in the back row and just try to use him as okay, perfect. And we just saw Xenocat swapping that out, so that is indeed what he might be intending to do here. Is to keep your characters on low HP. You know, if they die, throw a life potion on them, get them up, keep them in that critical state, so that Cecil will just automatically protect them. You get a massive defensive bonus from being in the back row, so that should make this a little bit more manageable, especially if you can keep that blink status on Cecil to be able to absorb those covers.
And chat and our tracker updating us on Dunka's situation. That save that he reset back to in a lower Babel was not after the fight that gave the Twin Harp, the Ruby fight. It was before, and he just went down to the tower spot. So there is no Twin Harp here. You can technically, if you have, say, a Moonveil, win the fight against the first Dark Elf form, but without one, the punches and the spells here are just going to, we're going to see a script you don't frequently see. We're going to see You Fools.
Yeah, and I think realization is going to be dawning here on BigDunka. Yeah, there's the reset.
And now we see the reset back up to Babel and go in the right direction now. We'll be getting that Twin Harp from the Ruby fight.
So yeah, we'll be back on track now. A lot of lost time, but BigDunka is an incredibly skilled runner. If there is someone that can, you know, force through and get back into this, he's definitely someone who can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this moon is being unforgiving so far. This Antlion fight is going a bit better this time, but we don't know what lurks below, and we do still have to find a Pink Tail or a Legend Sword into Adamant.
Really good news on that damage that Fusoya took. Enough to put him in critical, not enough to down him, so that means Cecil is going to be absorbing all of Fusoya's damage here. He's going to be absorbing for everyone except for Rydia. That is a really good position that you're going to want Cecil in right now. Getting that blink back on him. He's only taking about 400 damage a pop. That blink is going to be extremely helpful.
And a cheeky little strat here, using Cecil as a mana battery, taking the 141 of his MP to Rydia, going to give her the ability to do 2 more Mega Nukes here.
Yeah, very, very heads-up use of that Lilith Rod specifically for that purpose. Fantastic damage on Rydia there, puts her into critical. Everybody is protected from those physical damage attacks now.
So if you are in Dunka's shoes at this point, do you reconsider your path on the moon? Do you decide, instead of doing what I was going to do, maybe you go for, I don't know, the Feymarch fights and hope that they hit pay dirt for you? Like, if you see the Antlion in Cave Bahamut first because you decide to go top down, and let's say you come back and you do Feymarch, and you find that Pink Tail, you're in go mode that way too.
Yeah, I would be certainly tempted to if I'm BigDunka. I have to know that I'm seriously behind at this point. So the best way to get back into the game is to, you know, go for one of those big gambles. So I would certainly be considering doing Feymarch now instead of going back to the moon. Absolutely.
And especially, note again, if he does decide to swap it up and go for Cave Bahamut, we got a Luca key from Cave Bahamut. So that opens up the rest of the underground checks.
Yeah, right you are. Let's see if Xenocat decides to chase that or stay on the moon. Looks like for the moment going to stay on the moon, not going to get tempted by that Luca key. Going to go and clear out the rest of the spots here, it would seem.
Xenocat, of course, does not need a whole lot to achieve go mode at this point. You know, we mentioned that Dunka may want to change up his planned route and do a big gamble back on the blue planet after unlocking all this. I do still like going for the 10 key items and the sirens to power the team up, of course, and at this rate, you're pretty sure something important is going to be on the moon, and we know, of course, in the booth that where Antlion is. Xenocat, meanwhile, is taking the top-down approach here. Of course, Pinktail's here. You never have to walk to the bottom of the moon. Save yourself 6 floors. I like top-down these days, when you only need that amount.
Yeah, going bottom up, you have such a huge density of key items to check through, but when you only need that one, yeah, might as well just pick the spots as you come across them.
And yeah, chat, that is what Dark Elf does if you neglect to pick up your Twin Heart. You can technically win that fight, although you really need a Moon Veil to render all those physical attacks just to completely negate them. And then you can carve through it, but it does not let you get the win. It does not award you the Cave Magnus key item. It's something you can do just for personal fun, just to see it happen. It's kind of like how in Mist Village, when you use the package, you can win the fight against whichever party member there summons Titan, but you still have the exact same cutscene once you leave it.
Now, out of curiosity, is that something that is normally doable in the vanilla game?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
No, no. In the vanilla game, that spot has just HP overwhelming. I think the first time we managed it in Free Enterprise was appropriately enough with a full team of Adamant Armor Spoonwords carving up for tons of damage. You can also do it with a nuke-heavy team, just throwing nuke out, as long as you are speedy and you clog the queue to get all those hits in before they summon Titan.
That's really interesting. I meant more is that a script you can see in the normal game? Is it possible to go through Cave Magnus without picking up the Twin Heart in the normal game?
Oh, yes, absolutely. If you don't talk to Bedward and you go into Cave Magnus, you die.
Very cool.
Xenocat finding yet another key item option here. Xenocat has found the Earth Crystal to go along with that Luca key. Moon's already coughed up 2 key items. It's not frequent that it has, is it fully stacked top to bottom, but they are going ahead and walking down all the way to floor 7. At this point, is there any one item other, of course, than Go Mode that makes you bail here? Or do you think this is full commitment, I will clear all 4 of these spots no matter what?
Ah, gosh. Yeah, it really is the Pinktail at this point, because what else you got? The package, which you've already got Antlion, so it's not like you're hunting a boss. So yeah, if I'm in Xenocat's shoes, I'm full clearing the moon at this point.
Well, I specifically was wondering, let's say that, just playing the numbers and the distribution algorithm. Let's say you get the package and the Adamant. Anything that would possibly make you want to go chase for Legend Sword back on the blue planet?
Not much. I think at this point I'm committed to it. I can't really think of a scenario that would change my mind there. What about you? I'm curious what your thoughts on that would be.
I think part of me would have probably left as soon as I got both those key items that gate other places, but who knows? Anyway, here's Crisis Core.
And our second encore of the night. For those just joining, that is The Price of Freedom, I believe is the name of the track from Crisis Core.
I believe that's right.
That is correct. It is The Price of Freedom. Boy, did you know that there's a lyrical version of that song? It's true.
I did not.
It makes it even sadder. which for anyone who has played Crisis Core knows how very sad that song already is. But they make it even sadder in the lyrical version.
Are you telling me that a prequel to Final Fantasy VII starring Zack Fair did not end with a happy ending?
It is Look. We could have a conversation about making a game, that's a tragic game. But no one wants to hear me cry.
Scarlet, you're supposed to have a happy birthday, and you're all like, I would like a free enterprise seed that makes everybody weep.
Well, there's Golbez. That's close to it.
Close enough. Yes, still play Crisis Core.
Cecil here showing what a crystal sword will do to his brother, hitting for 6,500 damage, not even berserk.
Yeah, taking advantage of that elemental weakness that Golbez has to Holy. And that Crystal Sword certainly pumping that element out in spades.
Oh, and chat, in case you're wondering, why is everyone a piggy? Why are people small? Xenocat made it a point here to use the status hierarchy to prevent Golbez's paralysis from taking hold on the team. If you're piggied, you're minied, you're toaded, don't toad yourself. You're mute, you are, what's the one I'm poisoned! Any of those you apply to yourself before going into the fight, well, guess what? You don't have to worry about the hold gas. Gives you time to get your Star Veils set up, and be prepared for when Golbez swaps over to his Spectacular Onslaught.
Yep, taking advantage of the limitation of this engine where you can only have one status at a time.
Inventory boss! It hurts so much, and T Wildish, like, that was maybe the one good thing about back when we did have T Sparse enabled in Zima Zone 3, is that your inventory is so empty because there's no loot to be had that you don't have to deal with that screen, at least.
Yeah, right you are.
Now, we did get a Legend Sword there, so Xenocat now is looking for one more item, any one more key item that's not the package. A Adamant Rock, boom, you're good to go. A Pink Tail, boom, you're good to go. So I'm just going to assume they're both in Feymarsh.
Well, Scala did roll this seed, and it is her birthday, so that would be appropriate.
And Dunka is swapping up his route this time, heading over to Cave Bahamut. This is going to be great news for him.
Yeah, that's really, really big. That's going to put him back in the saddle here. Definitely going to be a huge morale boost knowing that you've got that boss hunt behind you.
Yeah, and I think that if again, just given that time loss, the multiple resets, the Twin Harp loss, BigDunka's biggest chance to bring this back is upon killing this, chase that Earth stuff, find a Pink Tail at one of them, and that puts him right back in it. Because if you assume your opponent's full clearing Moon, you know how far behind you are at this point, and Dunka knows it for certain.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that would certainly be. We were talking about those gambles to make, and changing your routing up. That would certainly be the sort of wrinkle that you would want to put into your game plan to sort of maybe catapult you forward. I'm really interested to see what BigDunka decides to do after this fight, and if he decides to approach it the way you explained.
Xenocat clears another lunar subterranean fight, only gets a little bit of Hanzo steel here, no value to be had there. Won't surprise me, yeah, they're going to keep the 62,000 XP from the fight though, even though that Ninja Blade won't do any good going forward. These levels are looking very Zeromus ready on Xenocat's side. Probably will not need to do any grind whatsoever once they do hit that go mode.
Yeah, that's why I really like when you get to do a sort of late game moon run like this, once you've gotten to that 10 key item benchmark, is just clearing out the moon can essentially be your grind. You don't have to worry about doing anything else. It sort of just takes care of itself. With just so many spots on the moon that award so much experience, and taking advantage of that 2x multiplier for your key item total can just substitute for any grind.
I am a little sad that we didn't end up seeing like Antlion down here and the other objectives already completed. I love a good swag walk to Zeromus, especially if you already have the pass. Won't be seeing that tonight, of course, but that's a Dr. Luge and a bow knob here. This spot has ridiculously high physical and magical attack. We'll be punching pretty strongly, but the good news is you only have to deal with about 3/4 of the XP here, since it's split amongst all those forms.
Yep, makes it a bit more manageable. Still have to sit through a couple of physical comedy cutscenes here.
Imagine being set down as the boss battle programmer in Final Fantasy IV, and you've been told you got to make it slapstick. I don't know. With this, how we do? Just do it.
Make it slapstick. What's my animation budget? What do you mean animation? Who said anything about that, sir?
It's like, all right, oil's always funny, right? Right.
It's always great to sort of watch, if you get a chance to play the SNES trilogy back to back, just sort of watching the progression of what they're able to do with expressions on the sprites, and how they start to become more animated, they start to have more character into them, and they start getting more confident with the sprite work to start doing a lot more of those, like, physical comedy and drama scenes, especially by the time you get to like Final Fantasy VI and they're using the same sprites in battle that they are in the overworld. It's really interesting to see.
And here, Dr. Luge getting that poison out in time before Fu can cast Berserk. So that'll whiff. Can't have the Zerk spell apply to you if you are currently poisoned, unfortunately.
You can't be mad when you're purple. That's why Grimace is always so mellow.
That makes so much sense. I wonder if like Grimace is like the final form of Violet Beauregard. Like Wonka's like, oh yes, all those other kids in my factory, don't worry. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. No. Everyone who stole that gum turned into a Grimace.
Sorry, Marvel. That's the most ambitious crossover in history right there.
the McWonka cinematic universe.
Well, now you have to outroll this into at least 6 other movies and 2 television series.
Well, I mean, okay, so I forgot the kid, the one who gets shrunk down and put in the TV, and then they say they're going to take him to the taffy puller.
Mike TV.
Mike TV.
Oh yeah, Mike TV. Thank you.
TV.
Wow, that's
very clever last name.
I thought there were things. I thought that I had at some point said the dumbest thing I'd ever said on comms, and then tonight happened. There we go. Anyway, and the point being that kid becomes the Hamburglar. I don't know why or how, but there's big Hamburglar energy that emanates from Mike TV.
If you ever get a chance and you want a real trip, read the sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. That is a messed up book. They go to space. There's a space station that's also a hotel, and everyone on there is murdered.
Wait, Smithy, are you... this isn't going to be another game in the Nonary Games series, is this?
I mean, it don't feel like that. It is a very weird book. There's no question as to why it has never been adapted to a movie or anything.
Yeah, on that one they send 9 golden tickets out.
Yeah.
And...
all Charlie's grandparents start de-aging to the point where they don't exist anymore. It's weird.
Okay, so I have to do. I can do one or the other. I can read Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, or I can play Crisis Core. But I can't do both.
Oh.
If you fight it out.
Ooh, no. I mean, I'm play Crisis Core. That's it. That's I'm trying to think of how else I would argue this.
I mean, I'm not arguing that you should read the book. I think you should play Crisis Core.
Oh, okay. Y'all are unified on this front. Gotcha.
And we've got the elements here, making very quick work with the damage going out. Unfortunately, too much HP to be skipping any of the phases here, but even still, not going to be much problem for Xenocat.
Well, notably though, Dunka has equalized on the quest completion front. If this is not an Adamant or a Pink Tail, we have a race again. Yeah, it's going to come down. I didn't see what Dr. Lugay dropped, but Xenocat's still clearly fighting bosses. Does this change things?
Oh, that's a Pink Tail. That is go mode. Xenocat.
Dunka now needs to either... Dunka's chance is to either go directly to that Wyvern altar or to make a Galaxy Brain play and go directly to wherever that... Well, no, because the Legend Sword was in the subterrane too.
Right, so we're very rapidly running out of situations where BigDunka can reasonably come back at this point.
Even if Dunka doesn't dive the moon here, definitely going to pick up the Rydia for anchoring purposes in the long run for both boss fights and Zeromus. But if we see Dunka hightail it down to the Wyvern altar, say, I'm going to do the moon in backwards order, bada bing, bada boom, we've got double go mode. But he is going to make the bigger metagame play. Or no, maybe not. Oh, or maybe so. I like Dunka's strategy here. I think it is the correct thing to do, given what happened. For those of you in chat who missed earlier on the race, Dunka took a wipe to Gold Dragons while grinding and had not saved in probably 30 minutes, would you say? 20 or 30 minutes?
Yeah, it was a very substantial loss.
Yeah. So making the kind of play that would theoretically get him back in it, hoping for a Pink Tail elsewhere. We know where it is, though, and we know that at least half the forge is also on the moon. So, Xenocat, holding the reins of this seed, going to use that pass, content with their levels, and Hal.
Yeah, very, very strong party setup here. Anytime you've got a Crystal Sword Cecil dealing damage, you can kind of relax a little bit against Zeromus. Don't relax too much. It is always a difficult fight. A lot of things can always go wrong here, but Xenocat has a lot in their corner right here that is looking pretty good for them.
Oh yeah, the setup here is going to be so clean. I see 4 flasks of Bacchus wine. Rydia has put on the heroine robe, putting down the magic. She is ready for blood.
I love it. I love seeing a warrior princess Rydia in action. And all these Z flags in chat, I think we might have another birthday surprise lined up.
Know. I think it's going to be a very special butt brought to you by Scala Kitty.
Yes, it is. It's a butt that has been requested for a while. So that's my one hint.
It's another Sephiroth, isn't it?
It's everybody over here yelling at Scala in the DMs, demanding very specific butts.
Still, for like a second, there was a little bit of frame dropping. Come on. Twitch.
Is the butt too strong?
It's Sephiroth, isn't it? Like Sephiroth with Chef Fat.
Okay, stream should be back. Please.
Shall I cook this meat rare?
Whenever he makes something flambe, he says, "Shall I give you flame?"
The masamune is just a giant shish kebab.
You can fit so much meat on the. Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Dunka getting the adamant down there in the sealed cave.
So close, so close to being amazing.
All right, but so let's see whose butt are we going to kick.
I'm really just thinking about a Masamune kebab now, and I'm very excited. I really want Sephiroth.
Well, too bad, you're fighting me.
No! That's so cute!
That is precious. That is precious.
This one is... You know, I know that you said before that your Dream Devourer sprite was kind of you. This is, and that's a great sprite, mind you, but this is amazing.
Well, thank you all. So we've done some sprite edits before for like the different tournaments and everything of like the finalists and all that. So this is indeed a sprite edit. This is a sprite edit from Brave Exvius because they have some really good Black Mage designs in that game. So I did that, and then also I had to be wielding a magical rolled-up newspaper that casts Big Bang when I smack you with it.
It's beautiful.
So now anyone who sees this can go, Scarlet, you butt!
Yes.
And they won't be wrong.
and then you know, maybe I'll kick your butt. You don't know.
You never do know. Zeroma's fights can go very south very quickly.
But that Big Bang was properly nerfed, as you typically will with the first one. The team is still going strong. Crystal Sword Cecil hitting for over 4,000 damage. How's that Spoonward doing?
Not too badly. That is a nice, powerful hit there.
Rydia's doing her best. Even with the Heroine Robe, what you really love for a Zerker Rydia, you love Artemis arrows and an Artemis bow. Those will even do more work than her Dragon Whip will. But again, you're not going to grind her to nuke in this situation, not in this race, not when you're trying to get your first win. And with these strong Zerkers, I think we may not even see another Big Bang at this rate.
Yeah, right you are. Even more so than the damage, what you're looking for Rydia, just clogging that ATB queue as much as you can. The more people you have zerked, the slower Zeromus' turns are going to come around relative to yours, just because of the way those attacks are put into the queue. So she's really providing utility as far as just getting attacks in there more so than just the damage that she's doing.
We'll see if this, what is it? It's roughly 8,000 to 9,000 around is enough to get another tip here into Meteor phase. If not, Cecil and Fu should both survive handily. There's the bang.
Getting through that perfectly timed Cure 4 there to keep Fu and Cecil up. It's really all that you need at this point.
Yeah, that did a little more damage than I was expecting there. A hefty Big Bang from Scarlet. And the Cure 4, before she can chain into the Meteo, it looks like Xenocat is about to take this. 2 more hits. Oh no, it's done!
There it goes.
In chat for Xenocat. Coming in first, taking the win with a 1 hour, 40 minutes, 22 seconds. I will note, this was the one match this week where a 1-0 bracket was matched with a loss or a tied bracket. And this, this has to feel good for Xenocat. We'll see if we can get them in here for an interview shortly. But a little bit of an underdog situation there, and it's cool to see it happen. Xenocat, GG's and congrats.
Thank you.
So the big question for me running through this entire seed is your decisions regarding your party composition. What made you choose to swap things out? Like, we had the early Rydia with the Bahamut, we found some good Zerkers, we had a Kayn with great spears who you didn't take to the end. What guided your philosophy with your party setup throughout that seed?
So originally I was thinking Rydia was going to be an anchor. That changed as soon as I saw Bahamut. But it was fine because Rydia was the anchor still, because there was another Rydia. So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, the seed was very kind to just, oh, you're going into the moon, here, take an anchor, just on the house.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for that. I mean, I guess I could have grabbed the Kayn from Eblon with a Dwarf Axe. Maybe. It would have been rough.
Yeah, so how did you feel about sort of the loot that was being given out here, that crystal sword coming out of the Staleman chest? Just a lot of things just screamed melee characters here. What was sort of your overall thoughts on the gear you were given?
I did the looting that I did, and once I found that crystal sword, I was like, I'll check a few extra things on the way down to peak this character, and after that, I'm done. Because I know Cecil is in the seed, I know he's an objective, I'm probably going to find him, and all I need is Crystal Sword Cecil.
with regard to your moon play at the end there, you did peek the Cave of Value first. You saw that antlion and knew that at that point you just needed either the pink tail or both halves of the forge. How do you typically decide to route the moon between Cave Value, the Murasame altar, and all the spots at the bottom? Like, what makes you decide which way you want to go?
It depends. If I'm going in with a lower level party like that one, I would usually start with the Murasame altar. I decided to start with Cape Bahamut because I had the 1 hourglass left over to take a double gold dragon fight, and it was an objective boss, so I figured I may as well get the objective done first, but then I usually like to do top down.
Were you intimidated at all going into this match, being the one player in the 0-1 pool to get paired up? Did that inform your play? Did you decide to be a little more gambly with someone who had the higher record, or did you just come in intending to play your game the way you wanted to play it?
I kind of decided, I had a really rough opponent in round 1. I'm just going to play the game the way I want to play it, and, I might make some gambles if I feel behind. There was nothing in that seed that really made me feel behind, other than maybe that first wipe to Antlion, but that was really the first thing that didn't go quite the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, that was a really nasty situation with Antlion, just how much physical damage was going out there. I saw that you sort of switched to the Cecil cover strats there. Was that just kind of happenstance, or were you thinking of another plan going in since you were trying to avoid counters? What was sort of your thoughts on the recalibration there?
That was, well, Cecil can probably live a hit if he's not in the front row, so let's try that, and also let's turn down the battle speed a little bit so that I can react a little bit more. And then it was mostly, let's just spam Bahamut until Antlion goes away.
That worked, and everybody got nice little counterattack hits that put them into that critical status. That worked out really well for you.
Yeah, I was like, I know Fu will probably end up going down to critical. Because what I really didn't want is anyone going down, because I had not seen life pots. As you may have noticed, I was down to 3 life pots at the end of that seed.
I think they were in Silvera, if memory serves.
Oh, that makes sense. I never check Silvera. But I had a life staff, so it was. I was like, this is fine.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of life pots. Just
I have infinite life casts in battle. It's great. Who needs life pots when you can cast life infinitely?
Well, you picked up a win here, even up your record here at 1-1 going into week 3. How are you feeling so far about the Swiss portion, and are you thinking about making any adjustments? What's kind of your thought process going into week 3?
Well, I'm a little scared. I'm terrified of a lot of the runners that are going to be in the 1-1 pool. Oh my goodness. But, I'm just going to play my game and have fun with it, and, if I don't end up advancing out of the Swiss, oh well.
Well, GG's again, Xenocat. We'll make sure to keep track of you going forward in the tournament. Good job on the win tonight. And yeah, thanks for being restreamed, and thanks for giving us a good show. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do. Inven Smeepty, thanks for commentating. Thanks to Maggie the Cat for doing the tracking, and thanks, of course, to Scala for restreaming this on her birthday.
And thanks for beating up Scala on her birthday for us.
Gigi, you beat me fair and square.
Hey, I mean, I beat you with you. Fu is
This
named
is
after
true.
you.
This is true. The duality of Scala.
All right, well, take care, Xenocat. Thanks so much, and look forward to seeing you in round 3.
Yep. Have a good night.
And of course, we did have a forfeit from BigDunka. No shame in that whatsoever. It's kind of a heartbreaking situation. You get in the groove like that, and you're going and going and going, so much momentum, and then you can just kind of hit a wall there, and realize you haven't saved. I've done it plenty of times, but big GGs to BigDunka. He put on a fantastic show. And this would have been a much closer race than it would have shown had that not unfortunate thing happened there.
Yeah, just a couple minutes apart, and Dunka definitely made the right metagame play to try to recover from it, but the key item distribution this seed just didn't allow for the for the comeback. Anyway, Scala, I believe you have news for us.
Here, we'll do it this way. Dunka was debating about doing an interview, but looks like that's not going to happen. But GG to Dunka for doing his best and trying to stick it out.
Absolutely. I know there are other matches tonight, and I assume we're going to be taking everyone here over to one. Where are we headed?
We are headed to RPG Limit Break, where we have Dijon Ketchup versus Peasants happening already. So I hope you all are really excited for that match.
Indeed, we are. And for all of you in chat, just a reminder, if you could keep the results of this race to yourself and not spoil it for anybody over there that might be looking to catch the VOD, we would really appreciate that.
Don't spoil the surprises either. Let them be surprised.
Yes, certainly don't spoil those.
But and also just thank you everyone for making this a lovely birthday. Thank you for everyone who gave me wonderful birthday wishes and all that. Effie's meant a lot to me over the course of this last year, like I'm sure is true for a lot of people. So thank you so much for letting me share my birthday with all of you and have a lot of fun doing so.
Happy birthday, Scala!
Happy birthday, Scala.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a great one.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.